All right, so get this today's deep dive straight to Arrakis, right into the world of Dune. But, and this is important, we're not just here for like sandworms and spaceships,
Oh, it's way deeper than that.
way deeper. This is about leadership power. Stuff that's relevant right now, today, because of how this story, written ages ago, still hits home.
It's kind of freaky how relevant it feels.
Right. And that's what blew this author's mind, honestly. They dug into why Dune just works right now. And it got me thinking, too.
The whole thing about how humans, we just crave a good leader, especially when things are shaky, that really got to me. It's like hardwired, isn't
That
it?
totally. And shaky. I mean, look
Yeah.
around. But the author said they were surprised Dune even got made with its message. Like, in today's world. Wild.
Because, yeah, on the surface, it's all sci-fi, epic, amazing visuals. But underneath, the author nailed it. It's this whole critique on power, ambition, what happens when it goes unchecked, like a warning wrapped up in a space opera.
Okay, so let's break that down. They pointed right at the Emperor and Baron Harkonnen, like prime examples of power gone wrong.
100%. These guys are larger than life and not in a good way. Emperor is obsessed with holding power, sees enemies everywhere, even allies aren't safe.
The more he has, the more paranoid he
Yeah.
gets, right? Classic power corrupts, yeah.
Absolutely classic. And then Harkonnen. Talk about a villain you love to hate. Greed, vengeance, control freak, the whole package. The author uses him to show how, like, ambition without a conscience just twists you up inside.
Scary to think about. It's like power without morals is a runaway train. Exciting for a second, then boom, disaster.
That is a perfect way to put it. And that, of course, is where our boy, Paul Atreides, comes in.
Oh yeah, Paul. Talk about wrong place, wrong time, right? Destiny's throwing a lot at him.
It's wild. The author compares him to, get this, Alexei Romanov, heir to the Russian throne, and Baron Roman von Ungern-Sternberg, this military leader from way back.
Okay, now those names threw me for a loop. What's the link there? Why them with Paul?
Think about it. All three. Deep down, their noble, strong sense of right and wrong. But hesitant about the roles they're kind of destined for, the pressure on those guys, living up to the legacy. That's Paul all over.
So it's less about wanting power, more like lead or get crushed by everything around them. All three of them.
Exactly. And the author points out Paul fights this destiny thing at first. Didn't even really want to be Duke, let alone this, like, messiah figure the Fremen see him as.
It's that whole who am I, who do people think I am
Yeah.
struggle. And that even without sandworms, that's relatable.
100%. And speaking of people close to him, the author's take on Jessica, Paul's mother, it adds a whole other level to this destiny thing. They compare her to the Theotokos in Christian tradition.
Oh, really? I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to explain that one.
Okay, so think about it. Jessica sees Paul's potential, right? Maybe even kind of reveres it, but she's still mom. That bond doesn't go away. It's this complex thing, knowing someone's destiny, especially your kids. That's heavy.
So it's not just Paul wrestling with what he's meant to do, but his own mother figuring out her place in it. That's a lot, knowing you could be shaping the future whether you want to or not. It's like they're stuck knowing what might be, bound to this path, even with all the doubts.
Exactly. And that's the core of Dune, what makes it so gripping, this question messiah or something else entirely. The author even brought up the Antichrist interpretation, which, wow, that got me thinking.
Right. Talk about a complicated character. But the author wasn't sold on that whole good versus evil thing, were they? Too simple.
Way too simple. Dune is way more nuanced, and that's what I love about it. No easy answers. It makes you ask, what happens when even good intentions, with huge power behind them, what then?
Like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So Paul, even trying to do right, he could still become, well, destructive.
That's the question, and it kept me hooked. The author argues that not knowing Paul's fate, that's what makes Dune stick with you.
Makes you rethink leadership, that's for sure. We want just, effective leaders, but when it's too much power. That's relevant today, isn't it?
100%. The author even said it's surprising to see a huge film like Dune tackle this. Big budget, but wrestling with power, destiny, the dark side of ambition, not your average popcorn flick.
Not even close. And that line, it stopped me dead in my tracks. The author called Dune the most pro-life film I have ever seen. Sci-fi epic. That's the phrase. Unexpected, to say the least.
Right. Bold statement. Makes you think, what are they really saying? Sanctity of life? Paul's choices? His forced destiny? It's open, and that's what makes it such a great point to discuss.
We're so used to easy answers, especially in entertainment. But Dune, this author's analysis, it's all about the tough questions, no easy way out. And honestly, I kind of love that.
Yeah, me too. That complexity is why Dune still resonates. It's like holding up a mirror to how we feel about leaders, power, the future we're making.
It's like Dune is, I don't know, a warning, a reflection, but maybe, just maybe, a little bit of hope too, all mixed together. Like it's telling us to really look at what we expect from leaders, from ourselves.
Hope's an interesting word to use there. Because, yeah, Dune can be dark, complicated, but there's that thread of what if. Like, what if someone can handle that power, come out the other side, still a good person?
It's a tightrope walk though, isn't it? Hero to tyrant, that line can get blurry, especially with stakes as high as in Dune.
No doubt. And that's what makes the author's last point so powerful. They connect Paul's whole journey to the kind of leadership we need today. It's kind of spooky how well it fits.
You mean that idea of, do we want power-hungry leaders or ones who are driven by, like, purpose,
Yeah.
justice, that whole thing?
Exactly. And honestly, that question's never mattered more than right now, has it? Someone who wants control or someone who feels responsible for the people they lead. Big difference.
Big question, too, and no easy answer. But something we got to think about, right? Both in who we choose to lead and how we each lead our own lives.
It all comes down to recognizing that power. In the wrong hands, it wrecks everything. But the right hands, with a good heart guiding them, it can do a lot of good. And that choice, that's on all of us.
Man, yeah, that's how you leave an impact. This deep dive into Dune, it's been something else. Twists, turns, and we really got into the deep stuff, didn't we?
It's wild how a story about sandworms and space politics can make you rethink, like everything, power, destiny, what it means to be human. It's all there.
Right. Proof that the best stories, they don't end when you put the book down or the credits roll. Dune is definitely one of those.
For sure. So if you want a story that'll challenge you, grab you, make you really think about the big stuff, give Dune another shot. Doesn't matter if you're a diehard fan or never even seen it, there's always something new waiting in those sands.
Perfectly said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder Arrakis and the power of Dune. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep diving deep.